My name is Willie, and let me tell you, life has a funny way of turning things around. 2 years ago, I was just the guy who got dumped because I wasn't good enough. I remember feeling like my world had ended. But fast forward to today, and the same person who walked away from me, she's losing her mind watching me thrive. It's wild how things change. Now, before I get into everything, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button. Trust me, you're going to want to hear this story. Because if you've ever felt rejected, if you've ever been told you weren't enough, or if you've ever had someone trade you in for something better, then stick around. This one's for you. Let me take you back to where it all started. The first time I saw Marilyn remains unforgettable even up to today. Back then, to me, she was more than special. She was perfect. From the moment we started talking, everything just clicked. We could spend hours together, and it never felt forced or awkward. You know that feeling when you find someone who just gets you? That's how it felt with Marilyn. She made me laugh in a way no one else could. I'd tell her about my dreams, my struggles, and even my fears, and she listened. At that time, I believed she did care. We made plans for the future, talked about places we wanted to visit, things we wanted to accomplish together. We did everything together because it gave us an excuse to be close. I wasn't rich, but I loved her with everything I had. And for a while, I thought that was enough. Looking back, I realize how blind I was. But at that time, I was just a guy in love, holding on to the idea that what we had was real. That no matter what life threw at us, we'd face it together. I couldn't have been more wrong. After a year of dating, Marilyn invited me to have dinner with her family. At the time, I was excited. I saw it as a step forward in our relationship, a sign that we were getting more serious. So, when she told me her parents wanted to have me over, I took it as a good thing. I thought it meant they were warming up to me, that they wanted to get to know the man their daughter loved. Looking back now, I realize how naive I was. The moment I walked into their house, the atmosphere shifted. No one said anything outright rude, but I could feel it. The way her father barely made eye contact, how her mother's smile didn't quite reach her eyes, the forced politeness in her brother's voice when he greeted me. It was like stepping into a room where everyone had already decided something about you, and you were just there to prove them right. Dinner was uncomfortable. I tried to engage, tried to be polite, but the energy at the table was off. The conversations felt distant, like they were being careful about what they said around me. When I spoke, I could tell they weren't really interested. Her dad would nod occasionally. Her mom would offer a small, polite response, but their body language told me everything I needed to know. They weren't impressed. Marilyn, on the other hand, seemed oblivious to it all. Or she wasn't. Either way, she acted normal. Then came the moment that made everything clear. After dinner, her parents pulled me aside. I assumed they just wanted to have a friendly talk, probably get to know me better. But I was wrong. Her father, in his calm and measured tone, asked me directly, "So Willie, what are your plans for our daughter?" It wasn't a casual question. There was weight behind it, like they were testing me. Without hesitation, I answered honestly, "I plan to marry her, sir." I meant every word of it. Marilyn and I had talked about our future so many times. I saw no reason to hide my intentions. I expected some sort of approval, maybe even respect for being upfront about my commitment to their daughter. Instead, they just smiled. But now, looking back, I realized that smile wasn't one of happiness. No, it was the kind of smile people give when they already know something you don't. At the time, I didn't catch it. I thought they were just processing my answer. But in reality, they had already decided I was never going to be the man for their daughter. I just didn't know it yet. After that dinner, everything changed. Marilyn, who lights up whenever I called, suddenly acted like talking to me was a chore. My messages sat on read for hours, sometimes the whole day. When I finally got her on the phone, she sounded distracted, uninterested, like she had somewhere better to be. It wasn't the warm, playful conversations we used to have. She wasn't teasing me about my stubbornness or telling me about her day. She was just there, and it bothered me. I tried to ignore it, but then it got worse. She stopped picking up my calls altogether. I would call in the morning, no answer. Call in the afternoon, nothing. At night, I try one last time, and still silence. The first few times, I let it go. But when it became a pattern, I asked her what was going on. Her response, "I've been busy." That was it. It didn't make sense because she was the same person who used to complain if I didn't text her back fast enough. Now, she was barely responding to me at all. And it wasn't just the calls or texts. She stopped making time for me. The dates we used to plan, canceled. The little moments where she'd randomly call just to say she missed me, gone. It felt like I was chasing after someone who didn't want to be caught. But the worst part, she never actually said anything. And then, one evening, she asked me to meet her. I remember thinking, finally, she wants to talk things out. Probably we can fix this. I was wrong. We sat down, and she looked at me. Then, she told me straight up, "Willie, my family doesn't approve of us. They think I should be with someone who's more stable, someone who can give me a better life." For a second, I couldn't even process what I was hearing. I stared at her, waiting for her to take it back, waiting for her to say, "But I don't care what they think. I love you." But that never came. I forced myself to ask the only question that mattered without breaking down. "Do you even love me, or are you just doing what they want?" She hesitated. That pause was all the answer I needed. If she had to think about it, if she couldn't immediately say, "Of course I love you," then she had already made her choice. I should have gotten up right then and walked away. But I didn't. Instead, I begged. I reminded her of everything we had been through, of every dream we had for the future. I told her I was working hard, that things wouldn't always be like this. I asked her to believe in me. But she didn't. In the end, she left. Just like that. And as I watched her walk away, I realized something painful. I was the only one who ever truly believed in us. The days after Marilyn left felt like an open wound that refused to heal. I tried to act like I was fine, but deep down, I was shattered. She wasn't just my girlfriend. She was the one thing in my life that made sense. Everything else, my finances, my business, my future, was unstable, but I held on to her like she was my anchor. And then, just like that, she was gone. Not because we fought, not because we fell out of love, but because I wasn't good enough in her family's eyes. That realization cut deeper than anything. The woman I had spent years loving, the woman I dreamed of building a life with, had treated me in like an old, worn-out pair of shoes. And for what? A man with a heavier wallet? It was humiliating. At first, I told myself I'd be okay. But the nights were the hardest. I'd lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment we had together, searching for answers that never came. What if I had more money? What if I had dressed better, spoken differently, done something, anything, to prove my worth? Would she have stayed? The thoughts never stopped. I barely ate. I barely slept. Losing Marilyn felt like the final straw, like life had officially given up on me. There were days I didn't even want to get out of bed. What was the point? The woman I loved had left me, my business was failing, and I felt completely alone. But after some weeks, something inside me snapped. I was done feeling sorry for myself. I was done being the guy people pitied. Marilyn had chosen a better life. But that didn't mean I had to stay broken. If I wanted a future, if I wanted to prove to myself, not to her, that I was worth something, I had to start over. I stopped waiting for someone to save me and started focusing on what I could control. My time, my energy, my grind. Every day, I poured myself into my work, learning everything I could about my business, sharpening my skills, and finding ways to make money, even if it was just a little at a time. It wasn't easy. Some days I wanted to quit, but every time I felt like giving up, I reminded myself why I started. The pain became fuel. Every rejection, every setback, every moment of doubt pushed me harder. And through it all, one person stayed by my side, Diana. Funnily enough, she had been Marilyn's friend first. But, unlike Marilyn, she never looked down on me. She was just there after my breakup, checking in, encouraging me, reminding me that I wasn't as alone as I thought. At first I didn't see it. I was too caught up in my own misery to notice. But her presence felt different. She just saw me for who I was and accepted me. That kind of love, I had never experienced it before. 2 years. That's how long it took me to rebuild myself from the ground up. 2 years of discipline, long nights, and sheer determination. I won't lie to you, those early days were brutal. There were times I wanted to quit, times I wondered if I was just fooling myself. But every time doubt crept in, I reminded myself that I had to be good enough. That memory fueled me. It kept me going when nothing else did. Now, everything's different. I'm no longer the struggling guy. I built something real. My business is thriving, my finances are stable, and for the first time in my life, I feel in control. I wake up every morning with purpose, knowing that every decision I make is pushing me forward. But beyond all of that, beyond the success, the money, and the stability, what truly matters is that I'm happy. And a huge part of that happiness? Diana. Diana was there when I had nothing. She saw my potential before I ever did. She didn't pity me. She believed in me. That belief changed everything. At first, I didn't think much of it. I was still healing, still too caught up in my past to recognize what was right in front of me. But over time, something shifted. There was no pressure, no expectation, just a connection that grew naturally. Unlike Marilyn, Diana never made me feel like I had to prove my worth. I didn't have to beg for her attention or fight for her love. She loved me for me, not for what I could provide, not for what I might become, but for who I already was. And that changed everything. When I finally let go of the past and allowed myself to love her the way she deserved, I realized something. Some love is conditional. Others are simply meant to be. Then, just when I thought my past was behind me, my phone rang. At first, I didn't recognize a number, but the moment I heard her voice, I knew. Marilyn. It had been 2 years since we last spoke, and I could hear the hesitation in her voice. She greeted me like an old friend, but there was something awkward about it, like she wasn't sure how to approach the conversation. I stayed quiet, waiting for her to get to the point. And then she asked for my forgiveness. She told me she had been meaning to reach out for a while, but felt ashamed. She said she needed to apologize, to clear the air between us. I didn't say anything, just let her talk. And as she kept going, it became clear why she was really calling. The man her family chose for her, he wasn't who she thought he was. Behind all the wealth and stability, he was controlling, manipulative, a serial cheater. The perfect man they had chosen for her turned out to be a nightmare. Now, after 2 years of marriage and a child, she was thinking of leaving. I sat there, listening, but I felt nothing. The Marilyn I once loved, the one I would have done anything for, was gone. In her place was a woman who had made a choice, and now she had to live with it. She told me she regretted how things ended, that she had been young and naive, and that she let other people make decisions for her. Then, she said something that made me pause. "We were meant to be, Willie," she said, her voice almost trembling. "I see that now." I leaned back in my chair. Meant to be? I wanted to laugh at the irony. She wasn't saying this when she walked away. Back then, she was sure she had found something better. But now, after 2 years, after her perfect choice turned out to be anything but perfect, she's realizing we are meant to be. She kept talking about our memories, about how much fun we used to have, how I used to make her laugh. She said she missed the way I supported her, the way I truly cared about her. I let her finish. Then, I gave her the truth. "I'm with someone now," I said, my tone calm but firm. "And she means the world to me." She was silent. I could almost hear the gears turning in her mind. That wasn't the response she wanted. I think, deep down, she thought I'd welcome her back, that I'd still be the same guy who once begged her to stay. But I wasn't. Life had moved on, and so had I. "I don't hate you, Marilyn," I continued. "I don't even blame you anymore. But I also don't need you. I have everything I ever wanted now." She let out a shaky breath, like my words had finally sunk in. She mumbled, "Okay." And we ended the call. I thought that was it. I thought she had gotten the closure she needed. But I underestimated her. A few days later, I found out Marilyn had done something I never expected. Diana came to me, looking a little confused, a little unsettled. She told me Marilyn had called her. She said what? I asked, already feeling the irritation rising in my chest. "She told me to stay away from you," Diana said. That you and her have history, that you're meant to be together, and I'm just in the way. I was angry. Marilyn had no right. None. She had made her decision 2 years ago. She had walked away without looking back. And now, just because things didn't work out the way she hoped, she thought she could interfere in my life. No, that wasn't happening. I grabbed my phone and called her immediately. The moment she answered, I didn't even let her get a word in. "Listen to me, and listen carefully," I said, my voice sharper than I'd ever spoken to her before. "You have no business with me anymore. You had your chance, and you made your choice. Stay out of my life." There was silence on the other end. For years, I had always been the nice guy, the one who never raised his voice at her, who always tried to fix things. But not this time. This time, she needed to understand that I wasn't that guy anymore. And I think she did, because after that call, she never reached out again. After everything, I sat back and thought about everything that had happened. The heartbreak, the struggles, the moments I felt like I had nothing left in me. And then the painful, exhausting climb back to my feet. Looking at where I am now, compared to where I was 2 years ago, it almost feels like I lived two completely different lives. But the truth is, I wouldn't change a thing. Every part of this journey taught me something, and I want to share those lessons with you. Maybe you're going through something similar, maybe you've been in my shoes before, or maybe you just need to hear this today. Either way, here are things I learned the hard way. First, never let someone's rejection make you feel like you're not enough. When Marilyn left me, I felt worthless, like I had failed as a man. But looking back, I realized I wasn't the problem. I wasn't less than. I was just in the wrong place, with the wrong person, at the wrong time. Sometimes people will walk away from you, not because you're not good enough, but because they don't see your worth. And that's okay. What's not okay is letting their opinion define you. If someone doesn't see your value, that doesn't mean you don't have it. It just means they weren't meant to be part of your success story. Second, pain can either destroy you or build you. It's your choice. I won't lie, I could have let that breakup ruin me. I could have given up, stayed bitter, blamed the world, and felt sorry for myself. But at some point, I had to make a decision. Either I let this pain drown me, or I use it as fuel. So I worked like my life depended on it, because in many ways it did. And that pain, it became the fire that pushed me forward. Looking back, I realized that if Marilyn had never left me, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. So, if you're going through something painful, don't waste it. Use it. Let it turn you into something stronger. Third, real love doesn't make you feel like you have to prove yourself all the time. With Marilyn, I was always trying to be enough. Enough for her. Enough for her family. Enough to be worthy of staying by her side. But with Diana, it's different. She sees me as I am, and that's enough. Love shouldn't feel like a test you have to pass. It shouldn't feel like a constant battle for validation. When someone truly loves you, they won't make you feel like you have to compete for their affection. They will simply choose you, every single day. And finally, success isn't about revenge, it's about freedom. A lot of people think the best way to get back at someone who hurt you is to succeed just so you can rub it in their face. But let me tell you, that's the wrong mindset. Success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you were capable all along. When Marilyn called me, I didn't feel the need to throw my success in her face. I didn't gloat. I didn't say, "Look at me now." Because my success wasn't about her, it was about me. The best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's peace. It's knowing you made it, and you don't need anyone's validation to feel whole. So, what would you have done in my situation? If you were in my shoes, would you have taken Marilyn back? Would you have given her a second chance? Or would you have moved on just like I did? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And before we wrap this up, I'll leave you with this. Some people lose the love of their life by chasing something better. Others find the love of their life by becoming something better. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.